Okay, uh, welcome Chaitanya and Lokesh. So we will be having basic introduction about AWS and DevOps. Only two of you are there in the class. So if you guys have any doubts, just stop me there and you guys can ask question today. If it's just an intro class and demo that I'm going to take me. So before that, I would give a small intro about me. I am Satish. I'm working in the corporate for the last 5.5 years. Um, I've been worked with AWS DevOps, GCP, and I'm currently working with Azure. I'm not completely into AWS now. I've been I've done a few certifications in AWS, Kubernetes, Terraform. So these are the strong areas of mine. So I have been worked in whatever the tools that I'm going to teach you. I have been already worked in with hands-on with different kind of configurations and changes. I have been already been familiarized. So that's what I want to give a short intro about myself. So before going to DevOps, uh, the word DevOps it's actually derived from two things: development and operations. Um, so development intends like you if you guys from like some IT background or some other like any other backgrounds, that's totally fine. So in IT what the people do is like you might know some little basics that people code, that everybody aware, right? uh, so people start writing some C, Python or Node.js some code, and then they run it in their local and they see my coding. Then they will say my coding is working, my application is working. But apart from that scenario, do you think that is fine? Uh, if the coding alone is done, do you think that will be fine for an end user? Consider any web pages. Consider like Facebook, Facebook, Instagram, or any social media. And like just a coding is, do you think that is enough? No, because apart from the coding, uh, after they made the coding, there are plenty of ways that plenty of steps are there that has to be done. So the application will be served to the end user seamlessly without any issues. Even if any issues, that should be there should be an alert and there should be some support team that should be take care. So DevOps comes in a place in a SDLC. SDLC means like software development life cycle. So this is totally mean like any particular product that you are developing from the IT side that need to be uh, uh, developed within like in an effective manner within a short period of time. That where the DevOps comes. Okay, before this slide I want to explain about some agile and waterfall method. So this first we'll see about this waterfall method. um, so from you can see, mm, first you can see there is something called waterfall model. What is this waterfall model? What is this IT coding and all? So um, first anybody has to start from code. They should get the requirement, right? They should know what is their need, right? So like simply I cannot tell I will be a developer, I am going to develop something. So there should be some design pattern and there should be some need what I'm going to develop. I can develop any medical coding web page, or I can develop an e-commerce website for my own business, like to sell some clothes or something. Everything in a development, it's a development, right? And then they have to, the requirement should be there, then they have to do some designing, then the coding should be done. After the coding, somebody should be testing the local, and once the coding has been done, they should check the quality of the code. Once it's done, the deployment has to be carried out. And the deployment is done, then how to they do the production. In the production they have to check it again, like if any alert comes, uh, then there will be a cycle to develop this phase. So this how the any IT product is going to grow. That's a basic. You guys have any confusion what I told, Chaitanya or Lokesh?
No, Satish.
No, sir.
Okay.
I'm aware of it. This one.
You are aware of, right? So in the waterfall method, what happens is like first I should be knowing, oh, what is my need, and then I'm going to design, and then I have to code, and then I have to test, and then I go to the deployment, and then I go move it to the production, and then I wait for any issues to come. So this will be totally going to take a long period of time. And if there is any issues in my design itself, I cannot know in the previous stage, in the first stage itself. I would be knowing it at the end stage. So it will makes my projects more complex. So that's where the agile model comes. So DevOps sits in the agile model. So after completing each and every stage, I've been moving on. That's become a biggest drawback. So something has to be automated here, so I can do the testing parallelly. I should have some deployments there. So everything has to be done in a parallel way. Okay, that's where this agile comes. What the agile does is, like, if you done some small part of coding, first do the development and do the testing and then deploy it to the production. First only have this thing, then we will do the rest of the development. Then we will add one more feature. One future will be contained, like, suppose in your login page, like in your clothing website, you have, like, only have two t-shirts. Then you're going to be including pants. Then you're going to be including some trousers. So that's how in frequent development, right, for any web page or any model. That's how it's going to be. That's how it's come agile is going to be. But waterfall model, they'll design it everything, and they have to code completely. So that is a biggest drawback on waterfall compared to agile. You guys got a good difference of, between agile and waterfall, right? Because this is going to be basic, and mostly this going to be addressed in most of the interviews. You guys got an overview about agile and waterfall.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. You no need to call me sir. Like, you can just call me Satish. That's fine. Okay. Um, so I'm back to my previous slide. So I previously told, like, DevOps, it's like integration of development and operation. So once the coding has been done, so we have to keep somewhere. That's why the git comes in a place. Git and GitHub. So git is just a tool. You use some git command lines and push your code to any source code management, like GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket. There are plenty of tools there, but commonly everybody uses GitHub. Like, I should have plenty of tools are there. So you can just consider a scenario: we are storing our code in GitHub. Then in source code, I'm creating a repo for this one, and I have my code here. Once the code has been done, if you guys from uh, like from any develop, if you is from I know you guys are from any development background. So let me tell, if any code has been developed, you can see some dependency file. If you consider Java, it has pom.xml. If it contains node.js, it has package.json file. The, like, if you have Python, it will be having the requirement.txt file. What this package files? These packages files um, have the packages what need to be installed for your code. So nobody writes the code from the from the scratch, right? They will not having every logic, every functionality in the main code itself. Mostly everybody importing the packages and modules, right? That's where this package file comes. So you will be seeing, consider a case of node.js. In node.js, in this repository, along with your code, you will be having some file called so node, consider node.js, go with Java. So where we are going with Java, so that I'm going with the Java. You have the code of Java, and you have the package file. uh, you have the package file here. So in the build command, by using any of the build tools, like, consider I'm using Maven. Like, similar to Maven, we have Ant, Gradle, and different build tools for different languages. So .NET has different build method, Java has different build tools, and then um, it's based on the language that you're going to work. If you consider Java, you will be having a, sorry, not package.file, you will be having a pom.xml file. Pom.xml. In this pom.xml will contains all the dependencies. By using some maven commands, it will be creating a jar file for you. It will ends with jar. You can ask me what is jar. Yeah, um, the thing is, when you run some maven install or maven deploy commands, uh, it will take your code from the repository and as well as the package, and give you an give you a file with jar extension similar to your exe file in your computers. Have you noted in Windows, you know, the software that you install is apk package. You guys aware about that, right?
Yes, sir.
In mobile phones, if you download any
Our
application, that
comes is
format will
APK.
be it's apk. If you download application in Windows, it will be exe. So it's a kind of a java
EXE.
it's a for java, the output the build out file will be jar. Okay. Yeah, in this jar file you will be having your all your application files, all your package and everything will be there. So you build a file and keep it here, and then you do static code analysis. That's where this sonar cube comes. What is sonar cube? You write some code. Obviously there are lot of factors to test your code. So in my code, the logic has been written fine or not. Any um, security vulnerabilities can break this code or not. So everything, your code will be entirely scanned by sonar cube, and then you write unit test for your code. What is this unit? You told him I developed a build file. I am scanned my code by using sonar cube for static code analysis, and then you are talking about unit test. What is that? Like, consider you have written a for loop, uh, or like if you run any small part of coding in your life, they would be asked about have you run the test cases. You have you guys came across that scenario, test cases to pass any IT code? um, Chaitanya, Lokesh.
What's the command, sir? Test code.
Test cases, have you written any test cases? People would have been told to, in your computer labs, people would have been asked like, you to have your test cases are passed for this code? Have you guys just came across those words before or not?
Uh, no, sir.
uh, Chaitanya, about you?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I write the some test case scenarios.
Then you might be aware. So test cases
Yes,
is
sir.
nothing but
That
consider.
one you are using is used by the tool AutoVal tool.
What tool?
AutoVal.
Okay, okay, okay. Similar to that.
Okay.
So in unit testing, it dependently about depends upon the language that you were developing here. Java is actually a backend tool. Um, so in this case, unit test would be like, suppose I'm writing a code to generate the number 1 to 100. How am I sure that my code is going to generate the code from 1 to 100? So those to validate that looping, I will be having some small set of file where I am passing these inputs. That's what the unit testing means. In a simpler word, that is what. Lokesh, I hope you got some idea now, right?
Yes, sir.
You made a code, you should be checking that it is working or not. um, then we initially developed a jar file, right? Now we are pushing that jar file into some artifact to store it, um, to store the jar file. If later it can be used for any local testing, you can directly pull the jar file and you can run the jar file to check the application is working or not. So for later some versioning purpose. So in IT, each and every development they do, they will be start versioning it. So if you go for any website or any like the best example would be games. Like you consider like a Free Fire, a PUBG that you everybody came across. Each and every day they do some upgrades. In after 2 months or 9 months, you get an upgrade, right? It's actually been versioned. You can see in the settings that they'll be versioning. Currently, it starts with 1.0.0. Later, um, we will discuss about later. Like any versioning, it starts with like 1.1.1. The first one will be like major version, the second one will be like minor version, the last one will be like patch version.
Hmm.
So if any major update come, they will update the 1 into 2. if patch version like they update from 1 to 2, there might be a release for this, or there may be not. And they're similar to the minor version, uh, like that. So this how the IT product versioning would be take care. This is globally everywhere, it's unique. So let's come back to this topic. So we have an Docker here. You actually we built on the jar code. Now we need a Docker. Consider I have to deploy this code so it can be run to any end users uh, without any issues. But I can run it my laptop. My laptop has like a 4 CPU core and 8 GB of RAM. I might considering these terms are familiar for you guys, right? CPU, 4 core of CPU and 8 GB of RAM.
Yes, sir.
Uh, uh, so 4 GB of RAM, but I don't want to give for simple application to consume that much of resource. That's where this Docker comes. Docker, by using Docker for in the same machine, you can have multiple Docker containers that can be serving different applications, but it will you consume only the resource which is needed. Consider my laptop is like 4 GB RAM and 8 GB, like 4 core and 8 GB RAM. I will be just using a proportion of it, like 10 or 20%. I will be using one core CPU and 1 GB of RAM for my machine. I am segregating it, right? That's where this Docker comes. I'm isolating my environment for the application. So in this file, in this Docker, I am going to be installing the packages, dependencies, and the code. Only that will be there, because I for this application to run, whatever the necessary tools are there, that will be present. Apart from there is nothing. And then I will deploy it to Kubernetes. Kubernetes is the most important and tool for any DevOps engineer to learn. You deploy it in any Kubernetes, or you can deploy run it as a Docker container itself. So and then you create an alert. If my application goes down, or if something happens to my machine, I should get an alert. Okay, I consider I'm setting an alert like that. If my application goes down, or my no, machine where it is running, it's not available for a moment, it should give an alert. That alert should will be coming to your email. And then somebody is in monitoring guy in the shift should be take care of that. And then regular deployments keep on running, like they do development and the same cycle will be continued. um, so this is how the basic DevOps flow will be. So I just wanted to make it very clear and frank. I want to know inputs from you. I just explained the DevOps cycle. I know obviously some of the terms actually went to your mind, some of them you won't. I just wanted to get a feedback for you. What do you understand from this DevOps cycle? I first wanted to go from Chaitanya.
Actually, we are using by the you are not writing the code. After the code, you will push the code Jenkins side
Ah,
and
yes.
push the code to they automatically download to build report artifactory. You see the
Okay.
report and after that you will do the testing.
Ah,
This and all I know, but I don't know the Kubernetes and
mm,
build
you
push images.
basically do the you have the CA pipeline. Have you familiarized with the CA in CD?
Yeah, yeah,
You basically do the CA pipeline, that's continuous integration and continuous deployment. Continuous
yeah. My,
integration
yeah,
in
my
sense, yeah, go come on.
my role is also software integration only.
Okay, that you integrate multiple tools for the code to get built, and then
Yes,
and keep it in some artifact. That's it, right? But you don't care of deployments and monitoring and rest of the tools, right?
yes, yes.
That's the thing. So the in CI, the what is continuous that's what the Jenkins tool means. Like CI CD tool. CI means you take the code, build the code, test the code, and keep it in some artifact. That is the CI.
Yeah,
CD means continuous uh, deployment. So
okay.
continuous deployment means like uh, once the artifact is there in the artifact tree, you take that package and deploy it somewhere so the end users can use the actual application. So I hope you got the flow difference between CI and CD. right?
Yes, sir. And Satish, how to use the Terraform and DevOps side?
Yeah, I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm just giving you the overview of DevOps. You now can
Okay.
understand, right, how an application starts from the GitHub and get deployed, and how the monitoring will be like. I just want to know like a basic stuffs. I'm coming to the
Yeah, yeah,
next slides.
yeah, I understood. I understood.
Um, Lokesh, I want to just make clear out if you don't understand any terms that you can explain, because today people are very less, and it will be very easy for me to get an feedback and get you to teach you one or two times. Um,
I'm okay.
Okay, right? Okay. Uh, so this how the basics of DevOps will be. So our classes will going to be cover all the tools which I mentioned here. Some of the tools that we mentioned here, like GitHub, Maven, Jenkins, SonarQube, Docker, Kubernetes, Terraform, Ansible. I didn't mention that. I will tell where this Terraform and Ansible will comes in place, and then Prometheus, Grafana, and we will be doing in real-time projects in our organization. How it has been built, we will be in the final classes. Either we sit together and do this complete projects, or and I will bring you like one or two major projects that has been done that are available in the GitHub. We can pull the code and we can see how the deployments are occurring. So, see, from the interview's perspective, you should be first familiarized with the basics. Uh, See, there are a lot of tools there. There are a lot of in each and every tool. There are from like beginner to advanced level of things are there. But nobody has worked in any tool very full-fledgedly that they know everything about the tool. You should learn one thing about DevOps. When it comes to DevOps, you should know a life cycle, that how do you done that's how they will the interview is going to be. How you done, in an organization, what you done, what you learned. That's how the question will be. They will not be asking in there a lot of options is there, why you haven't worked on this option. Nobody is going to question that. You got my point. You want an entire flow that you should be familiarized for an development or like any DevOps operation to be taken care, right?
Yeah, Satish.
uh, you guys can stop me, okay? I'm not very elder than you or something. I'm like to be anything. I'm just like you. I like consider me as a friend of you. I'm just teaching you. uh, you can just ask me any question. Feel very free, okay? Because I already connected with location in person. We had a little chat. Maybe we can connect in Chaitanya in offline in the institute. uh,
Yeah, yeah, sure. I will call you personally after that.
sure.
I have
We
some
can.
doubts. Yeah.
You're from
Yeah.
Telugu, right? Even I know Telugu.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, we can talk.
Yeah,
We can talk.
yeah, sure.
So okay, the first thing, I actually made a plan to deliver this class in 48 hours. I know the 48 hours would be less to cover the DevOps, but I will be trying to teach most of the topics in it, and I will give you a complete overview for a one project or one application that you felt like you worked on DevOps. That's what my main goal is. Obviously, I'm going to cover plenty of advanced things also. In the end, once you started got familiarized with basics, then you will get a picture that you will know where I should uh, start preparing more once I have done the things. So based on the interviews that you attend and the progress that you do, you will get to know where you what tool I have to develop, what should be, what questions I have to be get prepared for the interviews. That's the main motive, right, for us to join this class. So the first thing would be Linux. So Linux is the most important thing. So you will be teaching, as we know, Windows, similar to Windows, we have a Linux where we mostly don't have any GUI, and we will be using some command lines. Why we need this Linux and all the basic commands about Linux, that we will be get teaching um, in the first 3 days, and next we will be like preparing teaching about Git. What is Git? What is Git branching strategy? Um, what is Git flow? What are the Git commands? What are the real-time Git commands that mostly being used in the organizations? So those things. So that's what we're going to cover in the week first. Okay. So you obviously, so there plenty of technical words that going to come out of my mind. I don't want you guys to remember something like that by the first class itself, but try to like remember the things which I'm going to say. Just I am giving an overview about this thing. And then in the week 2 I am straight away going with Docker. What is Docker? How the what is Docker architecture will be, how I am going to write the Docker file, yeah, how the Docker file commands I have to execute, what is Docker compose, what is like multi-stage Docker file, those things. And when it comes to Jenkins, how I am going to do the Jenkins installation, what are the plugins, what are the configurations available under the manage Jenkins. And we'll be creating different pipelines like freestyle jobs, declarative pipelines, scripted pipelines, Groovy if possible we'll check, and how it is integrated with SonarQube and with any Docker Hub repository. Those things we will see. Docker, you guys know, Docker is like a containerized tool for any application that you develop. I'm going to consider in your mind that you really have a container now. In the container, you are going to put your code and all the packages, so your application will be ready in the Docker container. Got it? In the Docker image that will be available. Once you run it, you can use that application. You got now just got a little idea about Docker container, uh, guys.
No, Satish.
Okay, that's really frank. That's good. See, this is my code, right? Uh, this is my code, right? You put it in the repository. What I told, once it build, all the packages will come, right? Like whatever in the form.xml, whatever dependencies you mentioned, it comes in the build. So and then I put all those dependencies and codes into the uh, Docker image first. From
Okay.
the, okay, it's just a package that you keep whatever like binaries, codes, and everything in the container. Okay, now you got a
Mm.
little idea.
Yes, yes, yes. I understood.
You just keep the application code like have you done any coding before, like any kind of languages that you little familiar, that I want to know. So that would be
Core Java, just I think.
no, not Java, anything like Python, anything you developed before, like any little coding experience. Anything. C, Python must be you must be done some in college or something, right? Hello, guys, am I audible?
Yes, Satish, you're
Yes,
right.
sir. Audible.
uh,
Yes, sir.
and Satyan, I was asking you like any coding experience that you hold. um,
I am not written. Let's just I know the basics on.
no. That's fine. That's fine. So that's where. So whatever I tell, so I have in the backend some of the images comes into my picture, so I can tell it in a flow. But you don't have those experience. That's where you lack. That's totally fine. Once we started working on it, you will know. Then Jenkins. We know Jenkins as CI/CD tool, like continuous
Yes.
integration and delivery. That's what we talk about. And SonarQube for analyzing the code, how the code has been written, any changes that required, any conditioning has to be modified, those things as can be checked in the Sonar Cloud. Any doubts up to now?
No, sir.
No,
Okay,
No.
Satish.
okay. So then Kubernetes, see, Kubernetes is one of the core concepts for the DevOps engineer. So obviously I mentioned only few topics here, but I'm not going to only cover this. I want to go in depth between the Kubernetes, because you can get familiarized with any tools, and you can get all the options about these things like Docker or Jenkins. But Kubernetes is a vast tool, and covering all those topics would be very difficult, so will be trying to cover most of the topics in Kubernetes. So what is deployments, what is pod, what is replica sets, what is service ingress, how the load balancers will be, what is how the networking has been done in architecture in the Kubernetes. So everything like what is storage in AKS, and plenty of other topics that we will discuss in Kubernetes. Kubernetes is just an like a container orchestration tool. Like, have you heard the word orchestra in any of your day-to-day life or something? Orchestra is like somebody who manages. That's what the Kubernetes tells. You have containers, Docker containers here. Like Kubernetes going to manage those containers. That's why Kubernetes is like a orchestrating container tool. You got it?
Yes, Satish.
Uh,
Hmm. Yes, sir.
Feel frank to tell whatever you
Yeah,
feel.
yeah,
Okay.
little bit I
Uh,
understood.
so because your application not only going to have only single set of code or single container. Your application is very big and you will have multiple microservice in it. Microservice in a sense um, like you cannot have a big application here. I am going to split my application into small things. Okay, for like
Okay.
to process consider like I'm giving an input file here. In that file, change the line number. This microservice is going to change the small letters into capital letters. This one, if this microservice, if there is any number in the file, going to replace that number with 0. It's like that. Any like it's kind of microservice. You got it. This has one functionality, this has one micro functionality. So the also this is in container, now this is in container. Obviously this maintaining these containers and how the signal will be going to pass from one container to another container, everything is going to maintain under the Kubernetes. You got the idea now?
Yes,
Hmm.
yes.
Yes.
uh, so then once ever we completed some basics about uh, like Docker, Jenkins and Kubernetes, we'll be jumping to AWS. In the next class itself, if possible, please hold an credit card with you. The credit card is to like if you are opening any AWS account for the first 1 year, it's totally free. Like most of the services are free, not all the services. For first for 1 year, like for study purpose, it is free. For initially when you create your account, they're going to charge 2 rupees and then it will be debited back to your account in 1 or 2 days after your account has been verified. So that please try to hold. If possible, we can create your AWS account in tomorrow's session itself. um, so AWS, it's like a Amazon Web Service. So what this Amazon Web Service holds? So Amazon Web Services offers plenty of services. Currently, AWS offers 200 services. Consider your laptop is a service. You have a laptop, right? What do you do with your laptop now? You do some you download some games, you download some browsers, you download some YouTube, you download some uh, like Netflix, and then you watch, right? You basically using it for a purpose. Similarly, in AWS we have a resource called EC2. You have a you can create a computer, either it's a Linux or it's like Windows. You can log into the computer and you can do the operation that your application needs. So basically in AWS, resources are actually divided into three, from my point of view. One is like compute, one is like storage, and storage network. I'm not sure why it's this pointer. I'm not sure. Okay. So you guys can remember like AWS offers like four kind of services. One is compute, storage, network, and security. And this is what the total AWS mostly mean. Okay. So you will be getting compute. Compute in sense the laptop that you're going to get. And then storage means you have to keep your files, right? Like in your laptop, you have a D drive where you store some files, right? Like any YouTube clips or any movies that you clip in your laptop drive, right? Similar to that, application need to store some data. So those things comes under storage and database things. And then networking, like in between we are three in the call. So how I am going to communicate to Lokesh? I'm from Lokesh to Chaitanya, Chaitanya to me. we are going to talk. So similar thing in the cloud, I am going to have different resources, and I'm going to restrict them, who should talk to whom, like who has to perform this certain operation. Those things will come under networking. And then security in sense like, you deployed your resource, how reliable the resource will be. um, and then like, if something happens to that resource, or who can access those resource, those things and all comes under security. These are the majorly four kind of services that available in any sort of cloud. Obviously AWS has like almost 60 to 70 percentage of marketplace in the total world. That's why everybody is starting, like, not 60, like, not 70, like it's around 40%. Yeah, 40% around the global market. You guys got it?
Yes, yes, Satish.
Chaitanya,
Yes.
Lokesh.
Yes, Satish.
Ah, okay. Say,
Can you hear me?
yeah, yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. So, this like EC2 is your computer, EBS is like some storage things. Like, you have a data disk, right? If you want to attach some hard drive, what you do? You attach into your laptop, right? That is this EBS. EBS and EFS both are like the hard drive that you store for your laptop. IAM user is just in like a, your user account that we are going to create in the cloud, and what permissions that you should. Suppose for your username, for Lokesh I need to be access only EC2, and then for Chaitanya I'm going to be access give the permission only S3. That's where that by using these roles and policies that we are going to control. And S3 buckets. So buckets in sense, it's kind of, it's also similar to EBS and EFS, but we storage them. It's completely an application use, that it's similar to a storage service. And VPC is like a virtual private cloud inside, because you in cloud you develop some resources and kept it should be in isolated way. Like not anybody from, like from an organization of like a MST, like milestone technologies, should not have access to any other organization's resource. And your resource should not be get access from other guys easily, right? You need to keep it them in separately, right? That's where the VPC comes. And then Route 53, uh, have you guys wondered, like when you type like google.com or facebook.com or any other website that you type, how it's getting routed to the any of the computer machines that the application has been deployed? That's what we are going to study in the Route 53. In this five services which I'm explaining, any routes in it, like just a quick word I explained.
No
That,
doubts.
uh, I don't want you guys to get remembered EC2 is a compute machine, that's what he told. And whatever coming out of mind, I just wanted that it is getting clear to you. So this means this what he's telling. You can get some picture on that, right?
Yes.
I'm taking it as yes and moving to the next slide. And then RDS, the RDS will be like relational database. So obviously databases are two type, like SQL and no SQL. So this RDS is an SQL database, that helps to keep any application data. And CloudFront CDN in sense like, so you developed any web application that is serving traffic in India. But consider you one of your friend from UK or US want to access the application. Obviously there is a, the it's millions, like it's like a lot of miles away. And if we going to access the application, it will be slow for him because of the latency in sense like, how soon that he get the response for the application. So that's where the CDN makes your application will make it sit him near in the US or UK region, so he can also access the application very easily without any latency. So then like elastic load balancer, because my application is not going to deploy in only one laptop, in multiple laptops. And how the routing has to be run from, this is the single point of contact means it's an end user here. You're going to hit the load balancer here. In the load balancer, in the backend it will have be, it is going to point you to different VMs. That is what this ELB means. then the basic monitoring how we should run and how the secrets are managed in AWS. That's what we're going to see in the big five. You got it? uh,
Yes, Satish.
okay.
Yeah. Yes.
I see. I want to be very active in this class. So, like, if any doubts in that, just ask me. Or after the class, we have any like after this recording has been stopped, if you have any doubts, I can explain in your own language as well for both of you. Uh,
Okay.
then, uh, so whatever we seen here, it's everything is a server. Initially I explained right about Docker. What I explained, I was explaining, instead of giving a complete laptop to my Docker, I'm just going to give a part of my resource from the laptop to the Docker, right? That's what I talked. So this week 6 class will be like serverless. What is like serverless functions? What is this AWS Lambda? What is this containers, EKS and ECR? These are like Docker Abyss. Once the Docker image is built, we'll be keeping it in ECR. That's how the format for Docker has been done, and we're going to store the image in ECR. Then what's the difference between ECS and EKS? ECS means Elastic Container Service. EKS means Elastic Kubernetes Service. So whatever we initially deployed in the first slide about this Docker and Kubernetes, these resources are actually getting offered by the AWS. That is what we are going to see here. Um, that is what we are going to see here. And basic messaging and AWS Lambda functions, basic serverless things. How like consider. mm I just wondered, like, when you do some registration on any of your website, immediately you get an OTP to your you get OTP to your email, right? That's totally was taken care by this SNS and HPS mostly. Like it's a called it's a pub and sub service that usually takes care of this. If you do some registration, or if you do um, like OTP, the OTP is the best example. When you register for something, you get an OTP, right, to your email. This messaging services are really taking care of that. This API get once you registered, this API going to trigger this SNS, and this SNS going to trigger you the email. So basic things will be there. One, what is this elastic beanstalk? So for an code to get deployed, what this elastic beanstalk, you just upload your code, whatever the resource that needed for this application to run, it those resources will be taken care automatically from the cloud side. You no need to do anything. It will provide you the endpoint. By accessing the endpoint, you will able to access the application. So that's what we're going to see in the big six. Any doubts there?
No,
Okay.
no, sir. No,
Uh, uh,
Satish.
so Chaitanya was asking about Terraform very eagerly. So let's go to the Terraform. So whatever the resource I have talked about here, so each and every time. So actually, I think I opened my. Uh, See, this how the AWS console is going to be. Yeah, I actually created an account for myself. My security card. This how the AWS console is going to look to be. If you type EC2, if I click launch configurations, each and every time I have to give what is the name of the server, what image it has to select, what is the size, what is the key pair, what in the network it has been going to deploy. All the information I should give it manually. That's where this Terraform comes in place. So in this Terraform, what is going to do is like, so you will be having all the configurations as a detail, like as a detailed word. So once you run the Terraform, it will going to spin up that resource in the cloud. That's where this Terraform comes. All the resource that you whatever we talked about can be by using Terraform, it can be spinned up. So the main use of is like, for my application to run, the architecture will be going to be big. It will be having EC2 database, S3, uh, EKS, and a public IP, load balancer, whatever it is. For each and every resource, you have to rely on the console, and you have to create the resource. That would not be possible. That will be really tough. That's where this Terraform comes. Everybody uses Terraform. If people ask you that you know cloud, then next question will be, what are the modules that you written in Terraform? That is going to be come back. Definitely they will be asking about telling to write about any Terraform modules that you have been worked. So how the Terraform has been developed, it is actually developed by like Ashikov, and it has been written in SQL language, and it has its own flow like Terraform init, plan, apply, destroy. One, what are those modules, and what is remote backend, and what is workspace and state management. Everything in detail we're going to see in Terraform. Obviously, a lot of things in Terraform that we'll see. So my machine is pinned up. In consider by using Terraform, I have created a machine in the cloud. The next thing, I have to do something in the machine because to get my application deployed in the machine, right? Like my consider in that machine I need go like Firefox, or I need my application to be deployed. Those things will be taken care by Ansible. You write a set of playbooks, right? Like say set of instructions, like each and every block that you write, it's a set of instruction. Download Chrome, you write some blocks for that. Download my application, move my application directory from this directory to this directory, unzip my application from here, and start the application, reboot my laptop. Everything will be added as a step in Ansible, that it going to get performed once your resource has been spent. Obviously, Ansible is not going to be used in much of the organizations. Only in certain organization is used, and it's very powerful because it is agentless. We will see what is why I'm calling it as an agentless or something. So, any doubts on this like week 7 thing that we are going to discuss?
No, Satish.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Chaitanya,
yeah, Satish.
I hope you are very eager about Terraform now.
Yeah, once you will do the hands-on means you will get more.
Yeah, definitely will be doing and so on. See,
Yeah.
once you started familiarizing with the basic stuffs, then you get to know what you have to be do for the next upgrades, that you will get to know. Yeah, let's move to the next slide. So the most important point would be like, after you done the deployment, you deploy the application, you need something to be monitoring. Like how you know your application it's not running, or the machine which I deployed is not working now. The something that I machine I brought from the AWS happened something. How would you know? That's where this Prometheus and Grafana and this CloudWatch will comes. This Prometheus and Grafana are external tools that we will be deploying as deploying it in the Kubernetes cluster. Prometheus is just an like in metrics, like metrics in sense. Um, See, I want to understand something. See, Prometheus is a metric tool, right? Metric tool means, consider my laptop is consuming 100% CPU, or considering like 100% of memory, or I have too much of network. These are some numeric values, right? Those are, we call it as metrics. Logs in sense, when application is going to run, it is going to give you some logs, that I have processed complete processing this, that I have error processing this one, I have processed abz, but I couldn't process efg. These are logs. You can now understand what is metrics and logs, guys. Guys, are you there?
Yes. Yes, yes.
Now you
I,
guys can understand, right, what is metrics and logs.
uh,
Numeric values will be like metrics,
okay.
and the wording format that going to come out of any application is going to be logs.
Okay.
You got it?
Hmm.
Yes,
So
sir.
metrics you cannot be get remembered, right? That's where this Grafana comes. Grafana will give you a visualized dashboards, like any like graph format, like pie chart, like different kind of charts will be there. By using the metrics, you'll put it on Grafana. Those will be giving you a graphical representation. And in the CloudWatch, you can check the logs, or if you have any other tools for monitoring, like for log monitoring, there are different tools like ELK, Datadog is there. We will have basic intro about that, about that, and then what is security best practice and AWS cost optimization point of view, what you have to do on the certain EC2 instance. Those things will be seeing on the week 8. Hmm.
Okay.
So, any doubts in the slide? If you don't know about any Prometheus or Grafana or some, just a quick overview, you want me to give one more time? Let me know. I hope. Um,
For me, it's okay.
what Lokesh?
Yeah, for me, it's everything okay.
Okay, okay, okay. Chaitanya, about you?
Yeah, yeah, it's good, Satish.
Mm. So then the final week will be like doing the final hands-on project. Just keep remember, just keep an attention. Like what we will do in the further project, we will be discussing about either I will be going to prepare from my own project, or I will be taking any GitHub projects. What we are going to do is like for that project, whatever the infrastructure that we needed. First, we will be deploying the infrastructure using the Terraform. I will be writing the resource blocks and modules and create the resource in AWS. Once the resource has been done, we will be start writing our CA pipeline. Obviously, like in the CA pipeline, we will be having Maven. We will be having it's going to run in Jenkins. So we will be having a Maven unit test, Sonar Cube, and Docker Hub and ECR registry and EKS cluster. Then once the deployment is done in the CD part, we will be getting that endpoint and see the application is working for you in the any of the domain name. So and how we are going to set an alert on that, on top of that, in those things, like whatever a complete flow, whatever is needed for you to get understand about DevOps, with all the tools that we discussed for the past 8 weeks, that we will be discussing in the final one. Okay, so this is what the DevOps is going to be. uh, One more thing, the course I designed, I particularly designed in a way. um, so this course and the contents, everything was designed by me. Because I have given like multiple interviews, and I know what is going to be come out. For first, what basics you have to be get familiarized to see. Once you went for an interview, the thing is, at least 30 to 40 percentage, you will be getting questions from the AWS, and the rest 15% from Terraform and from Kubernetes, and the rest 40% from the rest of the things. So then you consider, only if you familiarize with these tools itself, that you are able to answer everything. But then the interview will be considering that how only he knows about these tools, then he might have been read from some side. No, that, so in order to like ignore, like him not to consider image of yourself there. So you have to like work on all the tools, but majorly it will be focused on these areas. That's how this total class has been scheduled. 30% of class timings will be in AWS, Terraform 15%, Kubernetes 15%, and rest of the tools will be covering all. So from the interview perspective, I know what they're going to ask you to write. They will ask you to write the Docker file. They will going to ask you to write Jenkins file. They will going to ask you write Kubernetes file. They will ask you to write Terraform for any of the modules. And for rest of the things, Git, Docker, and all, like Kubernetes, they will like, be going to have some architectural things and some command lines. Um, so this how the interviews will be going for Arvid. So in the first round of interviews, mostly wherever you attend, they will be more focused on whatever the tools that you know on what you've done it. The next round will be, second rounds will mostly will be like technical, and some hands-on will be there. The third round will be like managerial questions. That's how the basic three round of interviews for any DevOps engineer would be. So you guys got and keep updates here from me. Anything else that you
Uh,
want to discuss? Any doubts in the intro of the DevOps AWS DevOps class? Any
Not,
difficulties
not.
in any difficulties in understanding whatever I'm explaining to you guys? You guys can be more frank to me. Anything?
Nothing.
As of now, no, Bhuvnesh.
You guys got a good intro about AWS DevOps, right? Let me
Yes.
stop the recording.